There is a woman who walks into a room, and the entire energetic frequency of that space shifts. She is not the loudest. She is not necessarily the most beautiful in the classical sense, but she possesses a quality, an aura, that is both deeply compelling and slightly intimidating. She is the woman who stands alone. Most people will see this and misinterpret it as loneliness or arrogance. They will miss the profound, science-backed truth of her power. 99% will fail to understand the final principle of sovereign stillness, and it is there that the secret to her magnetic and unshakable presence is truly found. The biology of aloneness. Let's begin by dismantling a myth. The woman who stands alone is not lonely. She is simply not afraid of being alone. This is a crucial distinction, and it is the very foundation of her power. From a biological and evolutionary perspective, our brains are wired for pack behavior. For millennia, survival depended on being an accepted member of the tribe. Banishment was a death sentence. This has left us with a deep, primal fear of being alone, of being socially ostracized. This fear is a powerful motivator. It is the invisible string that pulls at us, urging us to conform, to seek approval, to blend in, to do whatever it takes to maintain our position within the group. It is the source of our people-pleasing tendencies, our fear of saying no, our constant low-grade anxiety about what others think of us. The woman who stands alone has, through conscious work and experience, managed to hack this ancient programming. She has rewired her own brain. She has taught her nervous system on a cellular level that her survival is not contingent on the constant approval of the pack. Her sense of safety and worth is not generated externally from the validation of others, but internally from her own deep, unshakable core. This is not an easy state to achieve. It is the result of a journey, often through periods of profound solitude, where she was forced to confront her own fears and discover that she was, in fact, her own greatest resource. She has sat with her own darkness and was not consumed by it. She has been her own rescuer, her own provider, her own source of comfort. She has proven to herself through direct experience that she is a complete and self-sustaining ecosystem. This creates a fascinating and powerful shift in her nonverbal communication, her body language. Because she is not subconsciously seeking approval, she does not exhibit the typical low-power supplicating cues that most people do. She doesn't fidget nervously. She doesn't use an excessive amount of head nodding to signal agreement. Her smile is genuine and offered as a gift, not as a plea for acceptance. Her posture is grounded and centered, not coiled in a state of readiness to please or to defend. She takes up a natural amount of space because she is not afraid of her own presence. This physical signature of self-possession is incredibly rare, and it is deeply magnetic. Other people's mirror neurons, the parts of their brain that create empathy and connection, pick up on her state of inner calm. Her presence is regulating. It is a quiet, nonverbal signal that says, "I am safe in my own being, therefore you can be safe in yours." This is why she is perceived as dangerous. Her danger is not a threat of harm, it is the danger of her authenticity. She is a living, breathing demonstration of a different way of being, a way that is free from the desperate need for external validation. And that freedom is so profound, so attractive, and so challenging to the status quo of social anxiety that it can be deeply unsettling to those who are still trapped in the prison of needing to be liked. The power of the unspoken. The woman who stands alone has mastered the art of the unspoken. She understands that the most powerful communication is often nonverbal, and that true strength is demonstrated not through loud declarations, but through a quiet, consistent, and unwavering presence. She is a master of what we call high-power body language, but hers is not the aggressive, chest-thumping power of dominance. It is the calm, expansive power of confidence. Her use of space is intentional. When she sits at a table, she is not afraid to place her belongings next to her, to claim her territory. When she stands, she does so with her feet firmly planted, her weight evenly distributed. This grounded stance is a powerful signal of stability. It says, "I am here, I am present, I am not easily moved." She does not shrink, she does not curl inward. Her shoulders are relaxed and open, a signal of a nervous system that is at ease, that is not in a state of fight, flight, or freeze. This physical openness is an invitation, but it is an invitation into her frame, on her terms. Her eye contact is perhaps her most potent tool. Most people's eye contact is fleeting, shifty, a nervous dance of seeking and avoiding connection. Her gaze is different. It is steady, calm, and direct, but not confrontational. It is what we call warm eye contact. She is not staring you down, she is seeing you. When you are speaking to her, you feel like you are the only person in the world. This is because, in that moment, you are. Her mind is not half occupied with worrying about what she will say next, or what you think of her. She has freed up that cognitive real estate. Her attention is a gift, and she gives it fully and without reservation. This level of pure, undivided presence is so rare that it can feel like a superpower. It makes people feel deeply seen, heard, and respected. And then there is her mastery of the pause. In a world that is terrified of silence, that rushes to fill every empty moment with nervous chatter and filler words, she is comfortable with the space between the words. When she is asked a question, she is not afraid to take a moment, to take a breath before she answers. This pause is not a sign of uncertainty. It is a sign of thoughtfulness. It is a non-verbal signal that she is considering her words with care, that she respects the question and is formulating an answer of substance. This quiet confidence is far more powerful than a quick, glib, and superficial response. It forces the world to slow down to her rhythm. It communicates that she is the one in control of the pace of the interaction. She is not a reactive creature, she is a deliberate and intentional creator of her own communication. The filter of discernment. The woman who stands alone is not a recluse. She often has deep and meaningful connections, but the way she forms these connections is fundamentally different from the norm. She operates from a principle of discernment, not of accumulation. For many, the goal of socializing is to collect as many friends, contacts, and followers as possible. It is a numbers game, driven by the fear of being left out. This woman understands that the quality of her connections is infinitely more important than the quantity. Her social life is not a sprawling, overgrown field. It is a carefully tended, beautiful, and intentional garden. She has a highly developed internal filter. She is not impressed by the superficial markers of status that captivate the masses: the wealth, the job title, the social media following. Her filter is tuned to a much deeper frequency. She is listening for the resonance of authenticity. She is watching for the congruence between a person's words and their actions. She is feeling for the quality of their energy. Does this person drain me or energize me? Is this person a creator or a complainer? Is this person living from a place of love or a place of fear? These are the questions her intuition is constantly, silently asking. Because her own sense of self-worth is not on the line, she is not afraid to disqualify people. She is not afraid to decide after a single conversation, this is not my person. And she does so without drama or judgment. She simply directs her precious time and energy elsewhere. She does not engage in hate following or frenemy dynamics. She does not keep people in her life out of a sense of obligation or a fear of creating an awkward situation. Her life is a curated experience, and she is the unapologetic curator. This discernment makes her an incredibly safe person to be around for those who do make it into her inner circle. Her friends and partners know that they have been chosen. They know that her affection and her loyalty are not given away lightly. They are a sign of her deep respect and trust. This makes her friendship a prize to be cherished. She does not offer a diluted, lukewarm affection to everyone she meets. She offers a concentrated, powerful, and unwavering loyalty to the few who have proven themselves worthy of it. This is why her relationships are so often characterized by their depth and their longevity. She is not building a wide network, she is forging a deep tribe, and she is the unwavering, stable center of that tribe. The currency of no. At the very core of the woman who stands alone is an unshakable and deeply peaceful relationship with the word no. For most people, no is a word of conflict. It is a word that is fraught with guilt, with apology, with the fear of disappointing others. For her, no is a word of clarity. It is a word of self-respect. It is the simple, clean, and honest tool she uses to maintain the integrity of her own life. She understands a fundamental truth. Her no is what gives her yes, its power. A person who cannot say no is a person whose yes is meaningless. Their yes is not a choice. It is a default setting, a symptom of their disease to please. When they say yes to you, it doesn't feel like a gift, it feels like an inevitability. But when the woman who stands alone gives you her yes, her time, her energy, her commitment, it is a conscious, deliberate, and powerful choice. It is a true gift because you know that no was a very real and equally valid option for her. She has chosen you, this project, this moment, from a place of freedom, not from a place of obligation. Her no is not a weapon. It is not aggressive or angry. It is a calm and simple statement of her reality. It is a boundary. When she says, no, that doesn't work for me, she does not follow it with a long, rambling justification. She does not apologize for her own needs or her own limits. She understands that no is a complete sentence. This is not something she had to learn from a book. It is the natural language of a person who is in tune with their own inner compass. Her no is simply her aligning her outer actions with her inner truth. This ability to say no cleanly and without guilt is what allows her to create a life that is a true reflection of her own values. She is not living a life that is a patchwork of other people's expectations and demands. She is the sole architect of her own existence. This is a source of immense inner peace. She is not weighed down by the resentment that comes from 1,000 small self-betrayals, 1,000 yeses that should have been no's. Her energy is clean. Her conscience is clear. This is why she can stand alone in a room full of people and feel a sense of peace. She is not at war with herself. She is living in a state of profound and powerful integrity, the unburdened mind. One of the most significant, yet invisible sources of her power is the state of her mind. She possesses an unburdened mind. This is the result of her radical commitment to personal responsibility and her refusal to carry the emotional and mental burdens of others. In any relationship, in any group dynamic, there is a constant, unspoken negotiation of who is going to carry the cognitive load, the invisible work of planning, worrying, remembering, and managing. The woman who stands alone has made a conscious decision that she will carry her own load and only her own load. She is not the fixer. She is not the rescuer. She is not the unpaid therapist for her friends and partners. When someone comes to her with a problem, she will listen with deep, compassionate presence. But she will not take the problem on as her own. She will not leap into action to solve it for them. She understands that to do so is to disempower them. It is to treat them like a child. Instead, she will hold a powerful, supportive space for them to find their own solution. She might ask a powerful question like, "What do you think you need to do?" Or, "What does your intuition tell you is the next step?" She is a guide, a lighthouse, not a rescue boat. She trusts in the ability of others to navigate their own storms, and in doing so, she inspires them to a higher level of their own competence. This boundary is particularly important in her romantic relationships. She does not engage in the toxic parent-child dynamic where she becomes the manager of her partner's life. She does not remind him of his appointments. She does not manage his emotions. She trusts him to be a capable, sovereign adult, and she expects the same in return. This allows the relationship to exist on a plane of mutual respect and admiration, not on a plane of codependence and resentment. Because her mind is not cluttered with the worries and to-do lists of everyone else, she has an immense amount of available mental and emotional energy. Her mind is a clear, open space. This is where her creativity comes from. This is where her strategic thinking comes from. This is where her deep intuitive insights come from. She is not just reacting to the constant stream of external demands. She is creating from a place of inner spaciousness. This is why she often seems so wise, so insightful. It is not that she is necessarily more intelligent than anyone else. It is that she has cleared her mind of the static and the clutter, and she is able to hear the quieter, deeper signals of wisdom that are available to all of us if only we would create the silence to listen. Sovereign stillness. This brings us to the final unifying principle, the very core of the power of the woman who stands alone. It is the state from which all of her other qualities emerge. It is the principle of sovereign stillness. This is a state of being that is so profoundly grounded in her own core that the chaotic winds of the external world, the opinions of others, the social pressures, the emotional storms cannot move her. She is the eye of the hurricane. The world may be spinning in a frenzy around her, but at her center, there is a point of absolute, unshakable calm. This is not a state she was born with. It is a state that has been cultivated, earned through a deep and consistent inner practice. It is the result of spending time in solitude, of learning to be her own companion, of finding her own inner source of validation. It is the result of a consistent practice of mindfulness, of learning to observe her own thoughts and emotions without being swept away by them. She has learned to be the witness of her own inner world, not its victim. She understands that her thoughts are not facts and her emotions are not her identity. They are simply energy passing through her. This sovereign stillness is the source of her danger. It is what makes her unpredictable in the most beautiful way, because she is not being driven by the fear of disapproval or the need for validation. You cannot control her with these common social levers. She is not playing the same game as everyone else. She is not seeking to climb the conventional social ladder. She is building her own ladder, one that leads inward to a deeper connection with her own truth. Her actions are not a reaction to you. They are an expression of her own inner alignment. This makes her a free agent in a world of puppets, and that is a profoundly powerful, and for some, a deeply threatening position to be in. This stillness is also the source of her deepest compassion. Because she is not at war with herself, she has no need to be at war with the world. Because she has faced her own shadows, she is not afraid of the shadows in others. She can meet people in their moments of chaos and pain with a deep, non-judgmental presence, because she is not afraid of being pulled into their storm. Her stillness is a sanctuary for others. It is a quiet, powerful invitation for them to find their own center. To stand alone is not a physical act. It is a spiritual and psychological posture. It is the choice to anchor your sense of self in the unshakable ground of your own being, rather than in the shifting sands of public opinion. It is the quiet, courageous, and lifelong work of building an inner home so strong and so beautiful that you are never, ever truly alone. And the woman who has built this home, who lives from this place of sovereign stillness, does not need to seek the light. She has become the light. Which aspect of the woman who stands alone, her biology, her nonverbal cues, her discernment, her boundaries, her unburdened mind, or her sovereign stillness, resonates most deeply with the person you are striving to become?